Well, it is now 6:40 in the morning. We've been up since 5:15. I wanted to get out at about 6:15. It's not 6:15, it's 6:40, but that doesn't matter, I suppose. Various things have been going on this morning. But it's all okay. We've arranged to have some of my pack shipped forward to O Cebreiro today through a company called Trans. And we just found out that they hadn't... One of these funny things, normally if you're doing it yourself, you phone to make sure that it's going to be picked up. But because I was speaking to the hotel and they said, oh, just do this, leave it with us, it's all fine. Nobody had actually phoned them. So on the way out just now, the concierge double checked, has anyone phoned? And he phoned just to make sure, and nobody had phoned. So it's all in place now. I've got a big cardboard box that the hotel gave me that basically has a lot of space in it. But the things I'm shipping forward are the sleep system that I have, my inflatable mattress, and the thing that turns it into a chair, like a chair shape. And then loads of just little bits of things, and my old shoes, the ones I've been carrying. The little Elcid chest that I bought in Burgos. The little book about Asturian mythical creatures. Stuff like that I don't really need to lug up a mountain. And a pair of paddle slippers because they're very nice and they're only cardboard, but I like them. So tomorrow I'll have to carry all that down the mountain, but I don't mind that quite so much. And I can decide if I want to sling some of it, I suppose. There's a lot of papers and bits of things that just thought, let's get rid of it. Anyway, we're now making our way through Villafranca del Bierzo. We're heading down towards the river, and then we'll pick up with the Camino just before that. I've been reading that a lot of people do the last section of this from a place called Las Herrerías. I think it's Las Herrerías. From there there's 8 kilometres. It's about 20 kilometres from here to there. And from there it's 8 kilometres of very steep ascent. It's a more gradual ascent until you get to that point. And a lot of people are doing it on horseback. From what I've gathered, they tend to book up, and I imagine they will have booked up quite a lot because it's a very busy year. So that is an option. I thought they were actually donkeys, but maybe they're not. Maybe it's actually horses, and they ship your luggage on, so the horses aren't carrying the luggage. And people have sort of said it's a nice option. I sort of feel that I need to carry my own stuff, even though I've shipped some of it forward. I didn't really intend to carry an extra pair of shoes and a little Elcid chest, so I don't feel so bad about that. And I think it might make things easier, what with having had a few aches and pains. Andrew, however, has been determined to carry all of his pack. There he is. So he's got quite a heavy pack today. But it fits him well and he's happy with it, so that's what we're doing. I'll show you some of what we're walking through now. It's the local sculptor again. So crossing over the river, there is a breakfast place open before 7 o'clock. It's 10 to 7 now.
I've got a pound shop.
Oh yeah, still got Neapolitanas. So one of the things that surprised us both already today, I've got my buff around my wrist instead of around my neck, because although it looks grey and there are clouds overhead, there's kind of little tiny speckles of rain, nothing constant though. It's humid and quite warm, so we're both thinking, well, Andrew's thinking he'll take his fleece off soon, which seems like hard to kind of rationalise because it's early in the morning, we're in the mountains and there's lots of cloud cover, so but anyway, I've taken my buff off and I'm from around my neck. So yeah, it's everything feels very still. There's not much wind at all. It's nice, but it is quite heavy on your skin in a way. Yeah. So I think we'll be following this road for quite a long way. We're going to a village and then come out of the village and continue on this road. It breaks off into a little path at one point, but I think it then continues along the road afterwards. The main road you might be able to hear is actually up to the left. That's basically the motorway. Okay. It's up there. There's a funny smell. It's sort of vegetation of some sort, but mixed with wood smoke, maybe. Mixed with fox. Mixed with and back to the leather shop. Cobblers. I don't know what it is. I think it must be some sort of plant growing nearby. If I have any more revelations, I'll let you know. But it's possible I won't be able to video too much because if this gets any heavier, I'll need to put the camera away properly. Yeah, don't want to get the lens wet, but it's such that it's coming straight down because there's not much wind. It's quite refreshing, really. I was just thinking about my saying, if I have any more revelations about things like smells, as though I had a revelation in the first place. It does intrigue me though. I mean, the smells are something that normally you don't really think about, and you certainly can't see on a video, so I think it's quite, to me it's quite an important thing to try to remember at least. And see, there's a different smell there. It's sort of earthy, dusty, but now I'm getting flowers. Andrew was saying there's a different note in there too. It's as though we're analysing a perfume. The stream below us. We just passed a sign saying caution, intersection ahead. But it's a good, 100 feet up at least. I'm not sure why. What sort of caution I should be showing. Maybe they think things might fall off onto our heads. I feel nervous now, something might land on my head. Well, this is quite exciting. We get off this little bit that's next to this road, and we're going to go off up that other little road instead. We're still getting little dots of rain, but nothing much now. There's not sort of a constant drizzle, just a constant, occasional little spot here, a spot there. I suspect this sort of thing's going to continue all day, but probably it will get a little heavier later on. It's a shame in a way in terms of filming, because that kind of heavy downpour would be so nice to be able to capture, because it is atmospheric and a big part of the day, but not practical really. I'll do what I can though, if it happens. Well, we're leaving Pereje. Pereje. It's an interesting word. I'm just looking at the sign over there which has the name Pereje. It's P-E-R-E-J-E. And on both of the signs somebody's crossed out the J. I can't hazard a guess at why that would be. But anyway, we just left. And it looked as though there might have been a little cafe there. There were chairs and so on. They were all... It's probably too early because it's not 8 o'clock yet. But it was an interesting place. A lot of the buildings were lovely looking buildings, but it was probably one of the economically poorest little villages I've been through. A lot of the buildings seemed uninhabited or just dilapidated, derelict, and not necessarily for sale either. So I don't know what's happening with Pereje, but maybe it just isn't sustainable because of the position that it's in. I don't know, it seemed a shame though. Shame to see anywhere like that. And most places, even though they're quite remote, particularly if they're on the Camino that we've been passing through, have seemed to be able to sustain themselves. So, I don't know, maybe it looks completely different when it's during the day and the sun's out and there were pilgrims going through and maybe a few more things have opened up. There was a correo there, so there's obviously some life to the place. Anyway, the next place is, I think it's about 4.6 kilometres further on. So we might stop there, I think, for some more coffee, maybe a bite to eat. Yeah. I just spotted little strawberries, tiny little wild strawberries, growing by the side of the road. Not the road, the path. I'll show you. Look how little they are! Tiny little strawberries! Just as I was going past, they caught my eye. The woodland down there is really quite dense. It still feels humid. We have got spots of rain still. Well, we get off the road here and we go into the village of Trabadelo. I've been having some problems remembering the name Trabadelo. It's become variously Tibidabo, as in the hill near Barcelona, and Trabadelo. So the Camino takes us through here. It looks as though there are quite a few facilities. It's also where if you took the alternative route, which is longer, more demanding, but from what I've read much more varied, that goes over the hills. It's up and down a lot of hills. That comes out here. So I suppose that's one reason why there are more facilities here. But yes, more pilgrims coming together at this point too. I'm not sure how many people. We did see some people earlier on going the opposite way, and I wondered whether they possibly were doing the Camino in reverse. We have seen some people doing it in reverse, but this time in the morning I wondered whether they'd turn back to do the other route instead of the road. But this is the one we've done is officially the way. The municipal albergue at the moment is closed. I wonder whether we'll find more about that. There's a sign on the other side saying that the Parroquia albergue is €5 a night, and it doesn't say that's closed. So we shall see what we encounter in the village. There were piles of wood stacked up further back. It was raining a bit, so I didn't show you, but you can imagine large piles of wood, not chopped up like this, but we're coming up to big stacks of pallets as well. Oh, that looks like a cafe that's open. I wonder whether there are two cafes and we can go on to the second one. I like going to the second one. Well, on that occasion, apparently it was not a good idea not to stop at the first one, because none of the others had any kind of food or drinks or anything. Most of the doors were shut. One was open, but they weren't doing food or anything. So I'm going to stop here and take my fleece off and have some of the chocolate-coated nuts that I got from the hotel. It must be my lucky day. I have found, first of all, I found a little four-leaf clover, and then I found another four-leaf clover, and then I found another four-leaf clover, and they're just at the side of the road here. And poor Andrew has been looking out. He's normally very good at finding four-leaf clovers. He's been looking out for them all through our Camino and hasn't found one. He's just found one now, so he's feeling pretty pleased, but he's still looking for more. I'm going to put these in my little journal and press them. I'm feeling rather pleased about that. It's a good sign for the day. I just found another one. It's just here. I think there are probably a few here. I'm going to leave it for someone else. Oh, and there's another one. I'll just see if I can show you. Here. That's four leaves. Yeah. We'll leave them for other people. Maybe someone else will see one.
Another one, because
yeah, it's strange how you get just groups of lots of them. I keep seeing evidence of possible donkey. We haven't seen the donkey since Molina Seca, which was a few days ago now. And I would have thought that they'd possibly be a day ahead of us now. Maybe it's another donkey. They do exist, or indeed a horse. But who knows? We might stop for coffee here. All of the next three villages are close together. The one after this one is 1.1 kilometres further on. And the one after that, I just see a milepost there. It's 174.4 kilometres to Santiago from here. Yeah, I think maybe we'll stop for coffee here. It's undercover. See what Andrew thinks, of course. What do you say, Andrew? Should we stop or not? Yes. Okay, let's do it. Habitación doble, 35 euros. Individual, 25 euros. That's quite good. Well, we're at the Hostel Peregrino, and I was going to fill my orange juice and then I just downed it because I needed it. Been looking at this rather fine statue of St. James, and it says Santiago is 190 kilometres that way and Orontes Valles is 559 kilometres the other way. I do like these statues. So it seems as though there is something about the mountains and witches and goblins and all that sort of mythology that often go hand in hand. Well, this one's for sale. Rather a grand building. There's some confusion at this point about which side of this barrier we should be on. Andrew chose the other way, making his own route. Little bit dicey there. The fisherman's house, Albergue Bar. Huh. Swimming pool and fishing, rooms, beds. Look down there, doesn't that look nice? Whoa. Well, we're leaving. Hola, buen camino. Leaving Ambasmestas now. And again, nothing was open. We're here on a Wednesday and a lot of the places say they're closed on a Monday. So I don't know why. There was a place just on the corner there that was advertising artisan goat cheese and quesadilla. It didn't look obviously open as though anything was being sold, but I could see some goats. Anyway, I think on this stretch, well, we're now up to 20 to 11, so 10:40. We're about halfway through the day, but of course we've got the hardest part to come after Las Herrerías. I think it's probably a case of stopping when you see a place open, jump in there. Well, we're entering Vega de Valcarce, and over on the side there, side of that building it says there's a municipal refuge for peregrinos, and there's a playa fluvial, which will be a river beach of some sort. Sounds rather nice. Horses to O Cebreiro, 5 kilometers. Now that's the thing. The Godasalco website says that it's 1.7 kilometers between here, Vega de Valcarce, and Ambasmestas, which we've just left. There's hardly any road between the two, so that's completely off. Once you get to this village, it's meant to only be 3-point-something kilometers to Las Herrerías, but I'm sure we'll have further than that yet. There is a place open here. Bar open. Well, this place looks nice. We've decided we're going to stop in Las Herrerías before the big climb. The couple just ahead have a buggy with 2 little children in. We saw somebody else with a similar buggy back on the way into Herrerías del Camino, just after Burgos. I don't envy them with the need to push that up the mountain today. But they've got a children's bike and a backpack, and he's pushing a double buggy. I have the utmost respect for anyone doing that. Fantastic experience for the children. There's quite a lot more here in Vega de Valcarce. Pharmacy, supermarket, plenty of places to stay. Lots of people gathering around. Another supermarket actually here. Also 2 banks here. There's a cash point there. Vega El Paso. There's information here about the castle, the Saracen, and it's up on this hillside here. Little jewellery sellers coming up. He makes all of these himself. So I bought some earrings in this stone, which are Rain of the Stars is the name of it. It looks lovely in the sunlight, when the sunlight catches it. And also a mother of pearl pendant myself. His name's Silvio, he's from Colombia. I do enjoy stopping and talking to people like that. Silvio just then. And he's fixed the pendant that I bought, well, Andrew bought for me in Esteo when we had a rest day, and stopped wearing it because the leather thing had broken. So, but yes, talking to him, he was asking for just a donation basically for his cats, for fixing. I asked how much it would be for him to fix, because he fixed the pendant from Esteo, and he said just a donation for the cats. He said he's got 12 cats, but they're not really his, they're just on the street, but they sit with him and he feeds them, and so obviously they keep going back. So we donated to the cat fund. That bus up ahead is the Hakotrans bus, which will have my belongings inside it, going up to O Cebreiro, with a nice big cardboard box with my inflatable mattress in it and my old trainers. We've left Spain behind. We're now in Betsycoed in Snowdonia in Wales. Swallow Falls, just coming up on the left. Honestly, it does feel like that. It's green, it's sort of humid. Of course, Snowdonia is officially a rainforest. But it's lush and it's lovely. A very good day for walking, I think. We've got good temperature. I'm saying that now. I might eat my words later, of course. Yeah, it smells of thyme. I think another part of the experience for me is the songs that you end up with in your head. For much of this last section it's been Don't Worry, Be Happy. Thanks to Luke, the Irishman, with the experience that he gave us sitting around in the House of the Gods. It's been in my mind since that. But right now, because Andrew was somewhere ahead of me a little while back, and it was almost as though there was a little thin cloud between us, and I commented on this, and I said it was like a puff. So now I have Puff the Magic Dragon in my head, and I'm walking along in rhythm to the gentleman in front's walking poles, that's the percussion, thinking about little Jackie Paper, who loved that dragon puff. I shan't burst into song, but it's in my head. Maybe it's quite befitting. I mean, there's something quite magical about this whole area with their fondness for witches and goblins. Why not add a dragon too? It's so green, you can imagine dragons in the valleys. And a little like Wales. Welsh dragons. There's quite a strong smell of runner beans. I feel a strange combination of stepping back in time with all these allotments and the rustic buildings around us, hens and cockerels everywhere, and the incredibly high overpasses. Those bridges up there that feel almost dystopian. And we've had those repeatedly occurring along the way. Appearing, I should say. Today. If we look over here, it's a different world. Here's another contrast. A rather ruined looking church and new building works going on. Haven't seen much of that. We've reached Las Herrerías, and that means we can have lunch. Paradise of Bierzo. I bet they have nice rooms there. Probably. Buen camino.
Nice to sit down.
Yeah, I'll sit down soon. We went all the way through the village, and this Casa Pauline is the only one that is open. And I'm very glad, because I'm in need of food and just to put my feet up before we go over the top. Just speaking to the gentleman from Bristol, and he's staying here for the night. He's going to go over tomorrow. I wish you could smell the vegetable soup. It smells very, very fine. It's got a real sort of stock, real stocky sort of smell to it. It's lovely. This is where we turn off, yes. Yeah, cyclists carry on straight ahead. We come off down here. As you can see, I've got the poncho out again. It's a steady rain, and it is quite a wet rain. So I might not be able to film as much as I really want to, which is pretty much every corner of the road. Coming up that section, we haven't actually done the steep bit yet. That's to come after La Faba. Curiously, La Faba surely means the bean. In Spanish, the bean. I wonder why they've called a village the bean. Is it because they grow beans, or is it shaped like a bean? Anyway, yeah, I'm getting quite a bad twinge in the back of my calf, and I'm trying to take it slowly because of that. I don't want to get cramp. I did lots of stretches this morning. I did stretches in Las Herrerías before we left after lunch. But apparently the really steep bit is yet to come. And then there's another steep bit and another steep bit. And it shouldn't really be a problem. But I'm getting cramp, sort of. I've got a knot in the back of my calf. I imagine everybody has a problem like this, except people like Andrew, who just carry on all the time. He's giggling away at me now, but he does. I don't know whether it's an Ehlers-Danlos syndrome problem or not. Maybe. Doing the best I can. I still wish I could do the PCT rather than just go up a hill. And it is a bit like Wales, really. Normally, if I were walking in Wales, I wouldn't have a problem with this. So maybe it is kind of the accumulative effect. Hi! Sorry, we're just bumping into somebody we haven't seen for ages. Well, I said I wanted a bit of dirt on my shoes. Good bit of mud. They're pretty well worn in now. I have to say, I'm very glad I don't have the Nike road running shoes for this. I'd be sliding everywhere. The Vibram soles and these New Balance Hierro, they've been so good. Back onto the Camino will provide thing. Just as I stopped back there, as you know, to have a little honesty moment about how I was getting a muscle twinge, along come 4 people that we've been talking with. 2, Wendy and Miranda, that we last saw in Leon, and a couple from England that we first saw on our first day, and we haven't seen them for a couple of weeks. And everybody just came, and since then my muscle spasm has been much improved. It's steeper now. Not really noticing it because we took some time, chatted. I think maybe it being that bit steeper is actually a little easier than the steady slope had been. So that was really nice. It was exactly what I needed right then. I imagine that those downhill days that people say are really difficult, if you're going downhill on this sort of terrain when it's muddy like this, it's slippy even now. If it gets even worse, I think you'll just go down on your rear end. Both Andrew and I just commented that it seems strange that we're still in Castilla y León. That gives you an idea of the sort of climb. And actually we haven't reached the part that in the Buen Camino app it says is the second part of the ascent. So I don't know whether they include this in the first part or not. It's very light Wales. Very light Wales. First sight of the horses. Hola. And the Fugio is slightly derelict. He's a big boy. Aren't you? Yeah. It's very like Wales. Well, we've reached La Laguna. It's the last stop before O Cebreiro at the top. I think I must be in need of sugar because I've gone for not only the colacao but also an ice cream. Andrew also has an ice cream. It's pretty chaotic in there. It's nice, but they don't sort of serve one person. They just serve everyone at the same time. It's a kind of free-for-all at the bar. So we're just leaving the place where we had the ice creams and I had the colacao as well. I've got sciatic pain going into my feet, which has been really, really quite sharp at times. I kind of hobbled into that restaurant to get served. And I've been stretching against the bar. It's kind of getting to that red hot knife in the back of my foot sort of pain. But I do know stretches to do and I do ease it off, and just on the way there a lady came out, I think she must be one of the owners, and she smiled at us and said, "Ánimo, only 2 kilometers, buen camino." I was just full of smiles, and sometimes that kind of motivation, it's kind of not necessary but it really helps. And it's so nice seeing people just egging you on, and local people must never really tire of encouraging people like that, I suppose. It's nice. Andrew can't abide having mucky shoes, and because we've been walking through the mud, we both have mucky shoes. So he dunked his feet in the water. Have you got really wet feet now? It's all good. It's absolutely beautiful up here. We are in a cloud. There's a little bird. Poor little thing. Oh, it looks so sad. It's probably not too well, I think. Oh. Well, we left the little fledgling sparrow alone. I hope it'll be okay. And I hope that other people coming up will leave it too. It's odd because it doesn't look as though it's fallen out of a nest from anywhere around here, so I don't quite know what it's doing there. Looked a bit stunned, really. But hopefully it will gather itself together and fly off. Sparrows, I know, aren't always the best at handling shock, so... But it looked healthy enough, so fingers crossed it'll be alright. I'm still thinking about the little sparrow. Just before we stopped and saw it, I'd stopped and we'd been taking photos and what have you. And I'd seen a little bird that looked almost as though it was having a bath in a puddle. It was sort of all fluttering around the way they do. The way the one in Ponferrada at the castle there was. And I said to Andrew, I wonder if it's having a bath, and then looked and it wasn't. And then we looked away and so on. So I'm wondering whether maybe something had happened to that little bird and it was trying to fly again. Maybe it had worn itself out and it was just having a breather. A bit like me. The area of Vega de Valcarce wishes you a happy trip. Thank you for visiting. See you soon.
Galicia.
We're in Galicia! Yay!
Take a picture with your phone.
Will do. So Andrew, I think maybe you're still in Castilla. Can we do a... I'm in Galicia, you're in Castilla.
No, I'm kind of in Galicia, but now I'm in Castilla.
I have to say, it's not so rainy in Galicia. They say it always rains in Galicia. It's been raining in Castilla. You want to try it over here? Well, one thing I've immediately noticed, within a couple of hundred yards of entering Galicia, suddenly there were these conifers. Well, we're just coming into O Cebreiro, a tunnel of trees. Well, for what it's worth, my opinion of that, ignoring the fact that I have the sciatica, silly Ehlers-Danlos syndrome issue with my muscles pinching a nerve, I managed to deal with that anyway. We're at O Cebreiro now, and I think, once again, if you can walk if you're British and you have been walking in Wales and you've done not even snowed and moderate mountain climbing, not really mountain climbing, moderate mountain walking, it's not that bad. This is a 17-mile day. It doesn't really feel like it. And I don't think the climb is really all that bad. We had quite muddy conditions, which were difficult. It was tiring, but we just talked and got through it. It wasn't too bad. I think in really hot weather it would be pretty exhausting. And it's now 4:15, so that gives you some idea. We were speaking to some people who left at 8 o'clock, and we left a lot earlier than that. I guess we must have just stopped a lot more, because we do walk reasonably quickly. Then again, I've struggled today with my foot issues. There's a Galician lady just behind me. It's lovely here, and immediately again it feels different. I don't know, it's clean actually. It's still slate, you can see the wall behind me there. Slate, but very clean. It's nice. Nice place.
So I am having the garlic soup and Andrew is having paella. And we both have the fillet of beef.
That's Andrew going to La Casa Vaina, which is our room. He's got my box that I shipped. And this is the Hotel Cebreiro. So we went straight over to eat earlier on. We're in a separate building from the main hotel in La Casa Vaina, rather than the Hotel Cebreiro. But this is our room. It's quite a small room, but it's nice. And yeah, I've picked up my box as you saw. I'll try and show you out to the window. So it is actually starting to clear, which is amazing. The other thing is that there are witches everywhere. It's a big thing in Galicia. We actually have a cauldron outside our room. And the other thing as well is that when we got here and checked in at reception, there was a local here who actually howled at me. He commented on the rain and then he howled.